Good morning, everyone. Okay, we'll continue our book reading, Advanced Selling Strategy by Brian Tracy. We're in chapter 10. This says closing the sales, the end game of selling. Yesterday explained selling as the toughest job in the world and how it is important to make sure that you show up every day, no matter how tough it gets. Because out there, you're going to face rejection, you're going to face denials, and you're going to have a whole lot of no. But all these things are what makes you a professional salesperson. Today we'll be looking at the end game on page 353. Said the end game. Said in golf, there is a saying, you drive for shows, but you put for dough. In selling, you present for show, but you overcome customer skepticism and gain commitment for dough. That is money. Your ability to answer objections and get the sale is the true test of how good you really are as a salesperson. This is perhaps the most stressful and challenging part of the sales process. It is your ability to answer the question the prospect puts to you and overcome his natural reluctance to make commitment that wraps up the sales process. It is also the part of the sales process that salespeople dislike the most and which customers find the most stressful. This is why you must thoroughly plan and carefully prepare the end game of selling so that you are completely ready to bring the sales conversation to its natural conclusion at the earliest and most appropriate moment. Fortunately, this is a skill like riding a bicycle or typing, and you can learn it through studying and practice. Handling objections and closing the sales are two different parts of the sales process, but they are so close together that in this chapter we will discuss them as a single function. Just as there are reasons why people buy a product, there are reasons why they don't. Often, answering an objection and removing an obstacle is the critical element in making the sales. You can answer the objections and close the sales simultaneously. Objections can be turned into reasons for buying. Just as there is a primary reason for buying a product, a hot button, there is a primary objection that stops the person from buying it. If you can emphasize the one and remove the other, the sales falls together naturally. In selling smaller product or service where you can prospect and make a complete presentation in the first meeting, your approach to closing will be different from the required if you are selling a larger product in a multi-call sales that stretches over several weeks or months. In the shorter, smaller sales, the prospect knows everything necessary to make a buying decision at the end of your presentation. Your aim should be to answer any lingering questions and then ask for the order in the larger sale. You may have met with the prospect several times before he or she is in a position to make a buying decision. You will have to be more patient and persistent. If you make a perfect presentation, one that clearly explains the benefits and resolves all the doubts that a qualified prospect might have, the sales will often close all by itself. Like a ripe apple dropping out of a tree into your hand, you will conclude your presentation. Check to be sure that the prospect has fully understood the benefits and value to him of the offer. And the prospect will say something like, "It sounds good to me. How do I get it? Will you take a check?" When you're dealing with a prospect who knows exactly what he wants and you structure your presentation so that you demonstrate to him that your product fills his needs perfectly, he can make a buying decision immediately and invite you to wrap up the sale. But this kind of result in selling is similar to a miracle. It is not that miracles don't happen, it's just that you can't depend on them. You must go into every sales situation prepared for the likelihood that your prospects will have questions unanswered, concerns unresolved, and objections to be overcome. You must know a variety of ways to ask for the order at different points in the sales process, and you must be capable of recognizing which closing technique is most appropriate at any given time with any given type of prospect. Like a master craftsman, you need a variety of tools with which to do excellent work. The best salespeople are invariably those who are the most skilled in fine points of bringing the sales conversation to a positive conclusion. Your first job in sales conversation and throughout all of your interaction with the customer is to build and maintain a quality relationship. It is to come across in a friendly way, to be warm, supportive, knowledgeable, and completely focused on helping the customer to solve a problem or achieve a goal with your product or service. Sorry. Because of the importance of trust in modern sales, you're never pushy, obnoxious, or overly aggressive. You never do or say anything that can be constructed as manipulation. You never attempt to influence your prospect to act contrary to his best interest. Your job is to thoroughly understand that his situation and to give good recommendation that enables him to make the right buying decision. Okay, so this is where we'll stop for our reading today. The end game. The end game, which is talking about here in summary, is how to close the sale. How to make sure that you close this sale, get the customer to give you check or pay for that product and service and purchase your product. So that is the end game which is talking about here. And for you to arrive at this point, you have to be thoroughly prepared. If you can remember, I keep telling us to be thoroughly prepared, because if you're not prepared, you don't know what you're going to tell this customer, you don't know what you're going to answer this customer when questions and concerns come up concerning your product. You will not know what to answer this particular customer. You will know what to answer this particular customer. So you have to be thoroughly prepared when you're going to meet a client or a prospect. So answer the questions you have to be able to carry on conversation, to be able to build and maintain quality relationship with this client. You have to appear warm, you have to appear supportive, you have to appear knowledgeable, and you have to be completely focused on helping this customer to solve a problem or achieve a goal with your product and service. So that is the end game. It is not going to be easy, but you have to just try to make sure that it all ends well. So that's just a brief summary of our reading for today. Thank you.
Thank you.